Zenitsu Agatsuma. As Tanjiro's the main protagonist's comrade, Zenitsu appeared early in the series to join Tanjiro on his adventures. Many of his scenes consist of him crying, but he does what needs to be done when it's crucial. From the official popularity polls, he ranked second during the first one, and first from the second one, showing his popularity overpowering even the main protagonist. Today, we'll be analyzing the popular Zenitsu's personality and power to see if he is suited to becoming a pillar himself. Is Zenitsu capable of becoming a pillar? Stay tuned to find out. Zenitsu's first appearance. Zenitsu made his first appearance in episode 6 when Tanjiro arrived at the final selection starting line. His cheeks were already dirty because he whined about going to the final selection and was slapped by his cultivator. The fact that the dirt was from slapping and not hard training was so Zenitsu. Zenitsu takes on the role of the cowardly character, and it's been shown since his first scenes. Immediately after the final selection, he was muttering, "I'm gonna die," over and over again, showing his pessimistic outlook. It was so bad that he ended up getting a scolding from Tanjiro for crying at a woman he'd never met before to marry him. He pleaded for her hand by saying that he'll die before long, something any other Demon Slayer Corps member would never say. From this scene on, we find him screeching a lot. He cries a lot, making a dripping mess while he's at it. This isn't limited to interaction with women. Whenever he finds a demon, he wails and screams that he's scared and doesn't want to die. This weak side and his constant worrying of death hasn't changed since the final selection. This is why he has such a useless impression and is titled the cowardly character. In a world full of characters with incredible powers, Zenitsu is a rare character that doesn't try to hide his inferiority and humane weakness. Even so, he was among the only 5 people that survived the final selection that started with about 20 people. Tanjiro, with his extreme sense of smell, could pick up Zenitsu's strength from the beginning. Even though he's usually useless, he's the kind of guy that would risk his life for his friends, making him the extreme "he can do it if he does it" guy. This shows particularly strongly after getting out of the Tsutsumi mansion when he protects the box Nizuku was in from a rampaging Inosuke, even getting heavily injured in the process. His willingness to get himself together to fight for his friends strike the hearts of many readers. Zenitsu's position in the Kamaboko squad. Compared to the overly positive Tanjiro and Inosuke, Zenitsu is usually the reactor, being the one with the most negative comments. That's why the Kamaboko squad, consisting of the 3 traveling companions, looks like a comedy show sometimes, with Tanjiro and Inosuke making so many comments that the readers want to butt into. Zenitsu fits in the role perfectly, because they joined the Corps together, making people assume that they're the same age, but in fact, Zenitsu is older by a full year. Zenitsu is also the realist and the one with the most common sense in the squad. According to his official profile, Zenitsu is from Oshigome, Tokyo. Him being born and raised in the city surrounded by information could be attributing to his knowledge. He explained what a train was to Tanjiro and Inosuke, who were both raised in the mountains and was the only one excited about the entertainment district. Zenitsu, who absolutely loves girls, was also the only one who was being giggly during the intense rehab training with the girls. He also gets a lovey-dovey with insect pillar Shinobu Kocho, and would generally get like this with any girl. However, this might be different in Nizuku's case, as he's been one way for her since seeing her for the first time. Just like a typical 16-year-old. Zenitsu has extreme hearing, allowing him to tell apart heartbeats and breathes, another person's emotions, and even lies through sounds. He can even tell apart humans from demons from sound alone. Many of his fight scenes show him using his hearing to his advantage. Even when he figured out there was a demon in the box in Tanjiro's back, he trusted Tanjiro, who sounded so kind that it made him want to cry. He didn't make a fuss or run away, proving that he isn't such a bad guy after all. Zenitsu's past. Most members of the Demon Slayer Corps joined because their families were killed by demons, but that wasn't the case with Zenitsu. Being born with a heart on his sleeve, he seems to have a lot of experience with dating. Even though he was taking the relationship seriously, everyone he dated had other priorities, with almost none letting him even hold their hand. Even though he could hear their harsh comments behind his back, he only believed what he wanted to believe and stayed in their relationships. Unfortunately, he was tricked into going into debt and ended up knocked to the ground by a group of rough men. He has a colorful past considering he's only 16. This was when his cultivator-to-be, former Thunder Pillar Jigoro Kawashima, came to the rescue. Not only did Jigoro pay off Zenitsu's debt in his place, but he put him under his wing. Zenitsu and his apprentice senior, Kaigaku, became thunder-breathing users. Because of his consistent and ridiculous crying, Kaigaku was always belittling him, and Jigoro was constantly scolding and beating him. Zenitsu's black hair turned blonde was also during his training. His hair changed to blonde when he was hit by lightning after climbing up a tree to get away from hard training. Not only did he get a scolding from his apprentice senior and teacher, he even got a beating from Mother Nature, as expected from a thunder-breathing user. Even though he tried to run away multiple times, Jigoro never once gave up on him. Zenitsu truly respects Jigoro for putting up with him without getting fed up. Zenitsu should probably be calling Jigoro Sensei since his senior does, but he calls him Gramps instead. Before meeting Jigoro, Zenitsu thought nobody cared about him. He must have considered Jigoro, who never gave up on him, more as family than a teacher. Even Jigoro felt happy when Zenitsu told him he loved him. No matter how hard he trained both with Jigoro and in secret, Zenitsu was only able to master one of the 6 forms in thunder breathing. Jigoro advised him to keep training the first form, saying that if he only had one thing he could do, he should focus on improving that one thing. Kaigaku kept giving Zenitsu a hard time, which in turn made Zenitsu uncomfortable with him. Even so, Zenitsu simply respected Kaigaku's straightforward hard work. Zenitsu even punched higher-ranking members for making fun of Kaigaku, who mastered all but the first form. It must have really bothered Zenitsu for the coward to punch somebody. Zenitsu is the kind of person who can still respect somebody for what they can do, even if he absolutely hates that person. Zenitsu's growth. It's easy to see Tanjiro's, the main protagonist's, growth throughout the story, but Zenitsu's growth is nothing to sneeze at. His first fighting scenes were during his mission with Tanjiro at the Tsutsumi mansion. Every bit of Zenitsu wanted to stay away from the mansion altogether, but sensing Tanjiro's anger, he reluctantly went inside. He ended up getting separated from Tanjiro and continued the mission alongside a young boy, Shueisha, who wanted to find his brother. When they finally encountered the demon, Zenitsu fainted from the extreme stress and fear. Shortly after, while still asleep, he pulled out the first form, Thunderclap and Flash, defeating the demon in an instant. After he woke up, Zenitsu mistook Shueisha as the one who defeated the demon, not himself. It seems Shueisha had a bit of trouble comprehending what was going on. Apparently, by falling asleep, he can release his true power that's normally locked away by his extreme fear and anxiety. Unfortunately, because of his self-doubt and fears, he hasn't figured out his true potential yet. His next fight was at Naraguma Mountains. Zenitsu got caught in a spider trap, where if he got stung, he himself would turn into a spider. From the shock and fear, he passed out. Again, he fights while still unconscious. But unlike last time, he's capable of thinking about tactics and his past. Inspired by his memories of his training with his cultivator Jigoro, he created the first form Thunderclap and Flash extension 6-fold and defeats the enemies. This time, he's aware of the fact that he was the one who defeated the demons. After recovering from Naraguma Mountains, their next fight was on the Mugen train against the lower rank one, Enmu. That said, Zenitsu never actually fought Enmu directly. The people under Enmu's influence used his blood technique to put Zenitsu to sleep in the train. While Tanjiro and the others were fighting Enmu head-on, Zenitsu was asleep the entire time, taking on the role of protector inside the train. Another milestone in his growth was when he saved Nezuko, uttering the words, "I'll protect Nezuko." He was so cool when he went in to save Nezuko at the perfect time. Him making a nose bubble shortly after was expected though. This time, the major milestone in his growth was his will to protect Nezuko. He doesn't change the fact that he still has a nose bubble while fighting upper rank 6 Daki during the Entertainment District arc. But now, he can communicate while fighting. He pulls off the first form, Thunderclap and Flash Godspeed, and defeats Daki alongside Inosuke. His growth isn't just with his attacks. Zenitsu noticed Daki, dressed as an Oiran, was actually a demon from her sounds, and despite him being awake, he properly talked back. Considering how he used to cry and scream at the sight of a demon, this shows Zenitsu's mental growth. Zenitsu's extremity. Up to this point, Zenitsu's shown his grown in leaps and bounds, but his growth doesn't stop from the Infinity Castle battle. Zenitsu's opponent was his demonized apprentice senior, the new upper rank 6 Kaigaku. This matchup wasn't a coincidence. Zenitsu went out of his way to find him with his hearing. Why he wanted to fight Kaigaku so badly was because Jigoro committed suicide to make up for Kaigaku's demonization. His eyes changed color when Chuntaro gave him the letter informing him of Jigoro's decision, giving him a serious look that showed Zenitsu's strong will. Kaigaku hadn't changed from their training days, looking down on Zenitsu. But unlike the unfortunate Zenitsu from Kaigaku's memory, Zenitsu showed him what he could do. Instead of falling asleep and blowing nose bubbles, he fights fully awake. Kaigaku has attacks based on thunder breathing and goes in for the kill. But Zenitsu, with the words, "Sorry, brother," fights back hard. He creates an original form, the 7th form, Honoi Kazuki no Kami, and defeats Kaigaku. What was behind the words, "Sorry, brother"? His final words to his senior. No matter how much Zenitsu hated him, he must have really not wanted to kill him. Unfortunately, he had no option and muttered an apology out of guilt. As it came from someone who used to cry out of fear of fighting, his quote was incredibly heart-wrenching. On top of that, he commented how he wanted to fight with him side by side one day. They may have been at odds with each other, but Zenitsu respected Kaigaku from the bottom of his heart. His betrayal was painful, and all his lost dreams really hurt. Zenitsu received major damage during this fight, but after receiving aid, he gets back up to join Tanjiro in the fight against Muzan. Beaten by Muzan Kibutsuji, Tanjiro nearly gave up, but Zenitsu pulled him back up by saying, "You're not gonna die." It would have been impossible to imagine Zenitsu fighting with his life against the last boss, Muzan Kibutsuji, during his early cowardly phase. He was still crying, but he was confident in his ability to defeat demons, and he worked hard to fulfill his role in the Demon Slayer Corps. From his growth, it's not hard to see him standing side by side with a pillar. Can Zenitsu become a pillar? If the Demon Slayer Corps didn't disband, would Zenitsu have become a pillar? In the entire thunder-breathing style, Zenitsu is only capable of using the 1st form and his original 7th form. Looking at this, it would certainly bother him as a pillar. However, just as Jigoro said, he polished and fully mastered the 1st form. The 1st form and all its variations, 6-fold, 8-fold, Godspeed, was enough to fight. He also has his incredible leg power and speed in his favor. He may not know it, but he has incredible physical ability. The conditions to becoming a pillar are by killing over 50 demons or one of the 12 Kizuki, or by being chosen from the 2nd highest rankers when the position is open. Nothing in the conditions say that you have to master all the forms in your respective breathing style. Zenitsu already defeated the upper rank 6 on his own, so he's cleared one of the conditions. Even if he didn't, it is very likely that his rank went up after the final battle, giving him the possibility that he is in the 2nd highest rank. On top of that, because of so many of the pillars passed away or retired and that there wasn't a thunder pillar at that time, it's very likely that he can clear the 2nd condition as well. In other words, if the Demon Slayer Corps continued, it was incredibly likely for Zenitsu to become a pillar. Unfortunately, it is really hard to imagine Zenitsu being a good leader or having the impact that all the other pillars had from just existing. He'll probably be a pillar that's too hard on the boys and too soft on the girls. He'll probably say something on the lines of, "The girls don't have to go, the boys will go for you." Zenitsu Agatsuma in a bundle. Now we know Zenitsu's growth in his past was immense, and he even has the power to become a pillar. If we include his mental growth, his growth can rival even the main characters. He used to be a coward that cried all the time, but each time he encountered a strong demon, he grew up step by step. This must be why he gained so much popularity. His womanizing characteristics might also be a factor, since nobody can be perfect. Personally, I would love to see what would have happened if he really became a pillar. How would you rate his extreme character? What do you think of Zenitsu now? What pillar do you think you would be? Comment down below. Thanks for watching. We have more shocking analysis videos coming up, so subscribe to get notified when the next one comes. We'll see you in the next video.